Welcome, warrior. It is the big weekend. So I'd like to throw out there from the Warriors happy Passover, happy Easter weekend. Let's get to it. I know it might be a little bit of an inconvenient time, but you know what? We at the Warriors are so busy traveling back and forth to Washington and a lot of other things that I have to jump on here with you whenever I really have a chance to sit down and do it. It is a beautiful day in New York City. Before we start, everybody, let's have a roll call. Please weigh in, name, and where you're from. Not exact address, but city, state, whatever you want to do. We like to check and make sure everything's working before I get going. And I'm not paying attention because I get so wrapped up in some of these issues weekend because a lot did happen. So please weigh in with that. I want to remind everybody if you are in the New York City area on May 6th, a Tuesday, we are having a dance party, a book party. We are having community. We are having food, music, just to celebrate. There are so many great things happening. I want to start with letting you know that I'll be back in Washington. And let's see, Edie is here. I see Edie. Yep, Edie is our biggest warrior, and thank you, Edie, for hitting that like button because you know what? I actually always forget to say it. So thank you for being the warrior that does say that because everybody really has to understand the way the YouTube works, as I like to say. It's algorithms. Algorithms. So the more likes we have, it moves us into the next step of the videos being circulated more. And warriors, I'm not going to go into it because it's a family program, how things are sometimes, overlooked or subject matter is not liked or I don't know. So every like counts and moves us into that super highway. So I always see Fred. Fred's here. My chat was out of order until now. 5x5. Welcome, Fred. Lionel Nation, 5x5 loud and clear. Wonderful. I want to talk to you. I got a lot of things to talk to you about today. It's Saturday, end of week. A lot of good things. I'm going to start with New York was popping. I just walked in the house. It's 83 degrees here. People are out. Families are out. The tulips are bursting forth. Lots of music I heard in the background. People playing from cars, from bicycles. I saw people sitting on stoops, something I really haven't seen too much of in this neighborhood, and just enjoying getting outside and having company. So for me, that's the New York I love. That's the New York I remember when I first came here. And that's what I like to see people actually outside, people actually talking, kids running around playing, yelling, physical activity, lots of kids in a park nearby with a soccer ball. It's wonderful. It's just wonderful. So I hope you all in your communities today, the weather is good wherever everybody is, and that you're enjoying this holiday weekend. We're going to put a little bit of focus on that in a couple of minutes, but I want to start with, let's see, Rhonda is here. Edie, I'm still reeling from the awesomeness of that interview with Bella. Thank you, Lynn. I am crippled with allergies, but that interview made my day. Edie, I'm so sorry about the allergies, but you know what? I feel you, Sister Warrior, because this is actually the first day. All week long, my eyes were tearing, the sinuses in the face, the throat is scratchy. It's still a little scratchy, but I also talk a lot, right? And so I tend to lose my voice by the end of the week because I tend to talk a lot during the week. But please feel better, Edie, and everybody else out there suffering from allergies because really your ears hurt. You can become nauseous. You get chills. It's all kinds of things going on. But you know what? When I see the beautiful trees and flowers, I'm like, it's all worth it. It'll pass by. So feel better, Edie, and everybody else. There's Fred. Fred, thank you so much. Gifted 10 Lynn's Warriors memberships. Fred, that's what it's all about. We want people to be signed up to get the information. But Warriors, you must share it on your platforms. And if you don't have other platforms, I urge you to share it in conversation when appropriate, whether it's your child, your grandchild, your neighbor, each other, about certain facts and things we talk about on the Warriors. Now, I want to get into, Debbie's saying hello. Hello, Debbie. I want to get into a couple of things. May 6th cutting room here in New York City. Please, we want to welcome everybody. We want to celebrate feeling good because so many good things are happening. I am so honored and proud to be going back to the White House to continue my work I guess I'm not letting the cat out of the bag. I'm working very hard on a round table, a human trafficking round table, plugging in the holes of, look, there's a lot of talk, there are a lot of organizations, a lot of great people working in this area of trafficking, which we at the Warriors call slavery, because the enslavement of people is really much more descriptive. I'd like everybody to weigh in about that because trafficking is a little murky. I'm not kidding. I know that's the word used. We're all used to it. We're habituated to that word. But slavery, when I watch people, when I say slavery, they sit up, they take notice. So let me know your thoughts on that. Edie says, Freddie's on a mission again. You are the best. Yes, Edie, you're the best. And Fred, you are the best. You're all the best because you're warriors. But Fred, thank you always for the memberships. It means so much to me. It's very, very humbling and I'm honored. What I wanted to talk about, I know I'm all over the place, but just stick with me here, is so we got May 6th out of the way. If you're in the New York area, we'd love to meet you. We want to feel good for 2 hours. We're going to have a group of our survivors who deserve, fun for a couple of hours, food, conversation, just a safe space to relax, right, everybody? Because the outside world is very overwhelming. We've got the White House coming up. I'm very excited. Let me get back to that. I want to plug in the holes. I want to plug in this trafficking movement, if that's what we're going to call it, that is escalating out of control and is really run by organized crime. That's what I want to talk to you about. It is at scale, I want to say. We have to think in terms of, now try to follow me here. The 10-year-old girl got sex trafficked. The 12-year-old boy got labor trafficked. We actually have to go a lot deeper than that. And this is what I'm working on. At scale, right? How many are labor trafficked? How many are sex trafficked? What is behind all of that? Because my inbox with press releases, with breaking news, and yes, I work in this, so I'm geared toward receiving all of this. You may not be receiving the kinds of things I am. I doubt you are, but inundated with stories of this exploitation and abuse. The numbers I can't keep up with. So it's not good enough to say it is bad. We got to come together. We got to change it. We got to find resources, man and woman power. We must come at this truly as a national security threat. It is a national security threat. Our precious children are under attack. I have been saying at the Warriors for a very long time, there is a war on for our children. And indeed, there is a war on for our children on every level. We're going through the gender with the kids, the education with the kids, mental health with the kids, digital safety, internet safety. We've got the advent, not even advent, of AI, artificial intelligence. We have all of these things happening. But instead of separating it all out, right? Because remember, what do I always tell you? When it's dark and ugly, here's what happens. People close their eyes, close the door. They don't want to hear about it. We need to come at this as a national security threat. It is organized crime, crime rings, working in tandem to take our country down and our children. And that's really what it is, attacking. Because that's what better to destroy a country than going after your young, your future adults, your future leaders. So we have to get into the mindset. And that's what I'll be doing in Washington, working on that mindset of at scale. And also, and it sounds pretty easy, but I have to tell you, people don't do it. True collaboration. If you're going to get any kind of funding or any kind of, incentives, you need to prove and show that you are collaborating. Now, I know that sounds very simple, but everybody is working individually. One hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing. So work I do, as an example, at the Warriors, another organization may not do. So we collaborate, we share. But certainly any kind of funding that comes for these organizations, that's what it needs to be based on. A new model, not just, check off a box, I'm giving this organization X amount of dollars. Let's really have this collaboration as a key element in securing funds and things like that. But I've got a whole plan, so I'm working on that. I'll keep you aware of that. But we really have to come at this because nothing has worked. And this is what I go to Washington and say, right? And I'm not a lawyer. I'm not law enforcement. I'm not a survivor. I haven't been exploited. I'm just a warrior. I can clearly see what I like to call the holes, and we want to plug in the holes. I don't know why other people can't see that. Yet when I talk, and Edie brought up, the interview should just be posting now because I had it out to members first. Her name is Bella. Bella um, Hunake. Hunake, right? I urge all of you to go back, look at this interview. I saw Bella in the White House. It was January 31st, 2020. President Trump had a human trafficking summit, and I was present, and Bella spoke. And it's an incredible story. She's currently working with HHS, Bobby Kennedy Jr., but I want you to hear what we talked about because what we talk about, nobody else is talking about. She can certainly bring to the table the mind of a survivor, what needs to be done. Because remember, I'm not a victim of this slavery. She has to deal, and with many others, that trauma that goes on for the rest of one's life. Okay. Things just don't disappear. You're not saved and you're not rescued. It is an ongoing process. It's very interesting. We talk about co regulation. We talk in a different way. So please, I urge all of you to go and look at my interview with Bella. I mean, I think it just hit a couple of minutes ago. It would go out to everybody because those are the things we want to address, what nobody else is addressing. And how, I don't know what Bella knows. I saw her with President Trump. He introduced her in the White House. And she also announced that day she was part of the Human Trafficking Council, which is a 2-year term made up of survivors across the board, bringing what could be done better with all of this. Fast forward, now she's with HHS, where human trafficking currently kind of sits, right, in the federal government. So let's also talk about one of my proposals is bringing it into, oh, I don't know, the Department of Defense. Because there are elements of it attached to the Department of Justice. I don't want to get everybody, out there, as we say, confused about things. But when I tell you this is a national security threat, and I know Tom Homan's been saying that forever, and others now, and the administration has deemed things as such, the cartels, which are attacked. I'm telling you, their main business is human slavery, trafficking of people, drugs, weapons. I don't know why. I really can't even go there. People are rallying around a criminal here illegally who um who hmm, I don't know what happened there, but things just disappeared for a second. Maybe they didn't like what I was saying, but I want to make sure everybody can hear me. So please check in again, please, with a 5x5. The screen just went blank. I don't know why everybody, and you all agree with me, I know it, rallying around a criminal who we know was involved with human trafficking, right? Who judges signed off on, yes, human trafficking, domestic violence, and why people rally around that, but will not rally around protecting our children, protecting our girls and women, and boys and men. Recently, we found out at the Warriors, fastest growing demo, law enforcement, we work with boys. Boys. We're talking the United States right now, right? Our focal point of our work is right here. But you can't help but say it is global in nature because of, thank you, Edie, Fred saying it's insanity. It's beyond. There's no word for it, Fred. Like, that's why I don't even want to spend time on it because it's just complete lunacy. We are about protecting our citizens of the United States, protecting our precious children, protecting our families, and making everything good for us, the citizens of America. So when I see this, I can't tell you how upset I get because I'm a warrior. I will not give it the attention. I know we're talking about it now, but I want to just share, please weigh in with some thoughts. That people, I don't care how much you dislike President Trump. That's what you're showing for your party. That's what you're doing. But you won't acknowledge our own American citizens. But you know what I say, and not to get too political here in the Warriors, keep it up because the American people don't want that. Keep it up. Let's have those visuals of shaking hands and drinking whatever those drinks were with the salt or whatever I saw on those tables and shaking hands. And look, I saw the tattoos. I know what they mean on somebody's body, okay? We're dealing here with MS-13. We're dealing here with a criminal, illegal. We're going to rally for our people. Now, here we go again with the screen going black. But I guess everybody can hear me and see me, but I'd like to see the comments you're making. I don't think they like the subject matter I'm talking about here on the YouTube. Listen, you know what we have to say? Edie says blurring. I know, Edie. I don't know what's going on here. It blurs every once in a while. Huh. All right, I'll just keep going. We'll deal with it, everybody. You know what we have to do though? Yeah, that is odd. It's just blurry. Can you see me now? You should be. I can see myself now, but it's going in and out. I've never had this happen before. Technology. Okay, so we have all that going on. Again, May 6th in New York, we're going to be celebrating all the hope. I'm going to DC, working with the administration to create a true roundtable where I am picking the people at the round table, the ones I know really do the work. That is the goal here. So I'll keep you posted on that. Yes, there are a lot of people making money from the trafficking. Their organizations get a lot of money from the trafficking. What trickles down to that victim, that survivor, right? Because I got to tell you, I'm going to a lot of fancy offices where people have, very fancy overhead and lots of employees and everything. Well, you're kind of looking at her, the warrior, right? And we have our volunteers, but we do it all. I'm all for everybody making money, right? But not when an organization is representing, how should I put this? I don't know, victims and survivors, yet everything's going into the fancy offices. But we'll leave that for another program. Okay. Let's talk about something that happened this week. So let's talk about Dirty Diddy, as I like to refer to him. P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Love Daddy, whatever he's going by, was denied just yesterday. His upcoming trial is May 5th here in New York, and his lawyers were trying to move it 60 days. They wanted an extension, more time to prepare. Some story. This guy's just full of one excuse after the other, along with his lawyers. They were denied. Because I was really thinking, we'll never see this go to trial. It remains to be seen. I still feel like that in my gut. We're never going to really see this open up on May 5th. May 5th is right around the corner. So let's see what happens with this trial. But I feel like the public, there's so much craziness with these stories about Dirty Diddy. Remember, that's what I call him. That the public again just says, another story. They don't care. Doesn't matter. But here's the thing. My concern with the Warriors is always the survivors we work with. They want accountability. They want to see somebody held responsible for doing these heinous crimes, right? So that is our focus, accountability. Because this Dirty Diddy got away with so many things way before I was even a warrior. I would say to myself, he was filling up at one school one time, and people actually I guess I have to be careful of algorithms here. Got unlived. Is that what we say? Unalived or something we say here on the YouTube. So many people, they oversold tickets. There was a crushing of people. He wasn't held responsible for anything like that. People witnessed him, came forward and said he was allegedly was saying, let's get out of here with his entourage and let people just push against the gym doors to get in some kind of concert. And that was back in the 90s. And then we had the whole thing with J-Lo. But I'm sure somebody like a J-Lo and others, haven't heard anything from her, have turned evidence, have spoken, whatever it is to save their own skin. I'm still convinced we're never going to see that go to trial. But that did happen. So I thought that's actually good news, because I actually thought, oh, maybe, again, I'm not a lawyer, maybe they'll be granted this extension. And they weren't. So we'll be following this one. I also want to say, there was a very disturbing, I'm going to pull it up because I sent it to my husband. I was so disturbed. And I like to share these online things that are happening with children, because this is something that every mainstream news outlet, every person working in trafficking, working in tech should be talking about. Oh, before I start it, let me look. Lionel Nation likes the effect. Okay. Um, Angelica says OnlyFans are being mainstreamed into PG content, making their lifestyle as a normalized career and the illusion that they are great role models. Candace Owens. Okay, my opinion, everybody. OnlyFans has always been a trafficking entity. That's what it is. Now, saying that, our focus at the Warriors is about children. This is what you don't hear about. There are plenty of minors on OnlyFans. I guess I'm supposed to say allegedly. I'll say allegedly. We focus on minors. I'm not caring what 18 plus, I may not like what they're doing, but they're legally an adult. Our focus is always on what's going on with the kids, the minors, this exploitation. So that being said, there are lawsuits now, minors and OnlyFans. I know, we heard Amanda Bynes, who was the cutest. Does anybody remember her? She was on some of these, I think it was Nickelodeon shows. And I remember, it might have been back in the, it had to be back in the, I think she's in her early 40s now. So it had to be in the 90s. I remember watching her sometimes. She did this kind of comedy sketch show. She was a kid and thinking she was so talented. It was Nickelodeon. It's all coming back to me now. And what happened to her? What happened to so many? If I could give anybody 2 cents, and I always suggest it, is keep your children out of show business. They do not belong. When they turn 18, if they want to pursue it, they're a legal adult. But as children, they do not belong. There's actually a story, I can't say simmering, ready to break about boys in Hollywood. And if this really can come out, because I thought that Nickelodeon, does everybody remember there was that Nickelodeon series? I don't know if it was on Netflix, Hulu, a couple of months back, and I really thought we'd get into it a little more, and that really didn't go anywhere because Amanda Bynes never commented on it or was part of it. It did not really go anywhere. The problem is we have a lot of parents living vicariously through their children. People will do anything. I've seen it. I started out in the music business. I can't tell you what I saw. Once in a while now, all these years later, I'll get like a flashback of something I thought of or something I saw or something at the time I didn't really understand what it was because I wasn't paying attention because I was always kind of a business type and working and serious. But then I'll be like, oh, wow, now I know what that was. Right, this exploitation. I mean, I'm going to keep saying at scale, like everybody almost is involved in entertainment on some level. Almost everybody has their hand in it. That's what I'm saying. That's my opinion, looking back in retrospect. So I'm saying these parents, again, there's parental autonomy. You can't tell a parent what to do with their child. I've seen it over and over again, pushing kids into this, right? The other thing I've seen is being here in New York and working on different theater productions in the past, kids would be a star in their hometown. And then they get to New York and they're not because there's a million of them and they crash and burn because they were a big deal in their town plays and their high school plays and maybe community college plays and musicals. And then they get here and it's so hard. And that's where vulnerability set in. That's where, a young woman may go on or a young man on OnlyFans. That's where all kinds of things can happen. But I want to get back into this article I want to share with you before I get blurred again on the YouTube. But let me just see the comments. Yes, Drea says, so sad for her. She was adorable and funny. My kids loved her show. It was like the cutest show. It was a comedy sketch show. I know what it was called. I think it was called And All That or that. I think it was called And All That or something. If anybody remembers, it was the cutest show with a bunch of kids. And I just remember thinking she was incredibly talented. Keep the kids out of modeling, music, and movies. Yes, because you have control over your children until they're 18. I am telling you to please keep them out of show business. You're not going to. Many of these kids, as adults, have relayed that they were the breadwinner for the family. They were the ones supporting the family. They couldn't let the family down. So they did anything to be accepted. I think you know what I mean, read between the lines. And because they could not, and I've heard this story several times from different now adults that don't even know each other. They had such responsibility for the monies that they could not let their families down, especially if a parent or parents said, you know, the house is dependent on you, the apartment's dependent on you, the car payment's dependent on you. Abuse, exploitation. So we've got all that to deal with. But again, it's a tough one because there's parental autonomy. You can't tell people what to do with their kids. Now, I'm going to find this article once and for all about Snap. We used to call it Snapchat, and now the kids are calling it Snap. But I woke up to this, and let's get this article so I can make sure I give you the correct facts. It's unbelievable that Snap is reporting. There was an internal report, okay, leaked last year. They use, and I'm using the word all the time now, maybe they're copying me, I don't know. Snapchat is harming children at this industrial scale. That's why I want to think of this trafficking, this slavery, as industrial scale. I know it sounds crass, but you know what? We got to think big like this. National security threat. Big, big, big. We can't have individual here, there, everywhere. We're getting nowhere. It is organized crime on steroids, beyond steroids. And that's what we have to deal with as a national security threat, shutting down these organized crime rings. Okay, but I want to get back to Snap. So we had an internal report leaked, right? And roughly about 13 million American kids, 13 to 17, use Snapchat. Now remember, if it's 13 million, it could be 16 million. Whatever we know, the numbers are always higher. Okay, so now so many cases have been filed, lawsuits against Snap for children harmed, and especially because of the sextortion, right? They're saying that this internal Snap memo that 10 million cases come across Snap every month. 10 million. Doesn't that just sound unbelievable? 10 million. So it could be 20 million. We don't really know the numbers. But there are 5 harms. And you could say this also about all the other platforms too. You know, addictive, compulsive, and problematic use. Well, you could say that about everything. Drugs and weapons. You say that about everything. CSAM, child sexual abuse material. Remember, we're not calling it kiddie porn anymore. We started about 2.5 years ago calling it CSAM. Let's use the correct terminology. CSAM, child sexual abuse material, is much more descriptive. Sextortion and in-person predation and assault. There are so many stories of the kids going out. They met somebody online and they're going out and they're meeting them in real time. We have individuals, we have married couples with kids. It's too much to even talk about, but it is increasing at alarming rates. This is a national security threat. We have cyberbullying. Now, that's not a joke at all. This cyberbullying is ruining children's lives. They're not coming home like we did and close the front door and you can hide out for a few hours. This is a 24-hour onslaught. And remember, we have a lot of harmful things online, such as the bots. Remember, bots are not real, right, everybody? There are certain games now that are just comprised of bots. When these bots attack, and it could be millions of bots over and over again with harmful, you're no good. See, again, we're a family show, so I'm skipping around the algorithms a little bit. You're no good. Why bother? Do away with yourself. Attack your sister. And confuse these young minds or anybody's mind. I remember one time I put up a story. Now remember, I didn't create it. It's about 2 years ago, about a certain singer, female singer. I put the story up. It wasn't even anything bad. It was something like, her she's canceling her tour because she's not selling tickets. And I was sharing a story. I did not write this or create it. I was attacked, I can't tell you, by like these thousands of bots. And why do I know they're bots? Because when you look at the time, Twitter, X, it's a cartoon face, or, a fruit for a face, somebody who has 0 followers, and they all follow the same pattern. And the wording was always like 3 or 4 words, attacking me. Those are bots, right? So you imagine a child who wants to fight back or thinks the bot is real, getting all confused. So these are the issues we have, and we have to deal with it. Lionel Nation says, Romano Production says, hey, Lynn. Hey, Romano. Lionel Nation says bots can manipulate, deceive, or exploit children by mimicking human interaction, spreading harmful content, invading privacy, or grooming them through seemingly innocent conversations or games. I couldn't have said it better myself. That's exactly what I'm trying to say. One of my biggest concerns right now are these bots. We have games coming out. First of all, these apps and games come out on a daily basis. Nobody can keep up with them, right? A lot of them lately are created with bots. So it's very harmful. Just think about that. There's another game that was just announced. I have to get some more information on it. It's going to be sort of a replication. It's not a game. It's going to be a platform, like an X, like a Facebook, like a Snap, YouTube, Insta. And it's going to be like X, but you are going to be able to create who you're engaged with. So it's kind of that formula of bots, and you will create whatever these bots are, these fake people. They're not real. These fake things manufactured, however you want them to interact with you. So you can have these, I'll use bots for now, for lack of a better word, create them that they're constantly complimenting you. However you want to see them. Now think of the danger in that. For kids and the developing brains, we don't even go near adults. We'll stick with the kids. But let's get back to Snap. So there's all this cyberbullying going on. And this is the internal memo. So these are the words of Snap themselves when this memo was leaked. And also knowledge of harm and underage use and lack of action. See, that's the thing. It's a very slippery slope. Many of these apps, many of these games, many of these platforms, check off a box. You're 18, right? Legal adult. Yet we know kids are accessing them. There are bills now for age verification. There's a very strong one in New Jersey right now. How do we do that? People fight. They say, well, you want our privacy. Don't you think our privacy has already been, I'm telling you, infiltrated, stolen, taken? I mean, how much more when everybody gave it to 23andMe and Ancestry.com? I mean, what is everybody fighting for? What we have to fight for right now, putting guardrails around our children. The internet is here. I don't want to give it back. Neither do you. Look at us having a wonderful conversation right now. How are we going to protect the kids? That is the question. How are we going to hold those predators? Why does the law lag behind technology? Let's get in front of it. Why? Why aren't the different groups all working in tandem? This is not what the world was 3, 5, 10 years ago. It is a different environment, one that must be addressed as so. None of that works. It's got to be new. And that's what I'm doing in Washington. I'm bringing the new, the ideas, right? The strategies, the new. Let me check. Everybody, Cord says hello to everybody. There's Fred saying hello back to Cord. I want to make sure I didn't skip anybody as I was talking about all that. Yeah, and here's the other thing, and I talk about it a lot, because we live in this new world and nothing has worked. We have to start. Fred says, can they tell your age through your eye retina? There is the technology. Well, here's the thing. There's technology to put these criminals out of business, right? I'm not understanding. Actually, you should go back and you should look at just this past week. I did a great interview. You got to look at these interviews I do. Dark Watch is the company. So we always talk about artificial intelligence as scary and bad, and it certainly is and will be, right? But there's also a lot of good that comes with it. And this company, Dark Watch, started by Noel Thomas. And I spoke to him a couple of years ago, and he wrote a book called Dark Traffic. about his sister years ago almost being stolen out of a grocery store. They were with their father, and he just turned to get something, like out of the meat case or something. And all of a sudden he looked down and the little 4-year-old was gone. And he immediately, the father, ran towards the door and saw the man walking out with her. So she was saved. This in turn got Noel Thomas, again, I urge you to go back. We just did this interview a couple of days ago, Dark Watch, to get involved very heavily in all this trafficking. Fast forward. He is the CEO and co-founder. It is AI for Good to root out all of this bad. So it's like a no-brainer. Why aren't we like all using it? When I say all, I mean like, government, again, scale, right? Keep thinking big, 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 not individual, coming together. We're going to attack at scale and give it right back to them, these predators, right? But similar to TikTok, I want to get back to Snap. We've known all of the insiders with these companies, these big tech platforms. They know, they're aware of all this. They're aware of the serious harms. We have multiple studies now. They don't act promptly. They don't really care about kids or you. They just want to make money. We have to start talking to the kids, age appropriate, from the time they can walk and talk. We have to make them that warrior. We have to make our kids warriors. We have to do it. I am telling you right now, we have an administration in Washington that very much wants to address all of this, make a difference, create a difference, work with warriors. But what about down the road? Because we at the Warriors, we're always about the next gig. We have no guarantees about anything 4, 8, 12 years from now. So it's up to you to understand these issues. It's up to you to take action. It's up to you to talk about these things. I don't know. It's funny because Monday is the Easter egg roll at the White House. And who do you think is sponsoring the Easter egg roll? Does anybody know? I'll wait a minute because this lags. Don't look it up. Did anybody hear who's sponsoring the Easter egg roll on the White House lawn? Anybody? Don't be looking it up. Don't be looking that up. Okay, nobody's weighing in. Okay. Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, is sponsoring it, I think, along with X. Big tech is. Now, the administration did say they were going to make money off of events. Seems a little strange to me at the White House, right? But when I see, there's the conflict for me. When I see those big tech companies infiltrating the Easter egg roll at the White House, is it a matter of, you keep your enemies close? Why not get them to sponsor this and pay us a couple of $1 million? I don't know what they're giving. I have to look up what's going on here, what they're sponsoring. What exactly does that mean? They pick up the cost of the eggs? Like, I want to see what all this is about. But then I think about all those parents that stood in front of Mark Zuckerberg in Congress and held up signs of their children and were demanding accountability, and his watered down, I'm sorry, no parent should have to go through this, their child harmed. It was the worst apology I ever saw, and then it's business as usual. So you see, it's up to us to really take things into our own hands, but you have to know the information. You have to be knowledgeable about all of this. And Jonathan says, do we need laws or simply better, more responsible parenting? Well, Jonathan, you open up a can of worms. It goes back to absolutely, we need responsible parenting. You know, and I know, we all know, a lot of parents are not doing their jobs. And I'm tired of saying I'm not judging, because somebody just argued with me the other day and told me I was judging. I am not judging. We know parents are overwhelmed. We know parents are trying to keep it all together. I think the hardest job in the world is being a parent. I don't care what book you read, what anybody tells you, what class you take, until you're that actual parent, I think it's the toughest job in the world. I know great parents, the kids are horrible. I know horrible parents, the kids are great. So I don't want to always say it's about the parenting. However, too many parents are letting this slip by the wayside because they say to me, my child would never do that. I don't want to invade my child's privacy. I said, what? Your child's 12 years old. You bought that phone. You have a responsibility. If you bought that, you're paying for the internet. You're paying for that device to know what goes on that device. I mean, after all, to use that old stale analogy, the bicycle helmets, the seat belts, don't drink and drive, don't take drugs. But this issue of digital online safety, I do not understand why people are not taking it more seriously. Now, the good news is, and why we're so hopeful, is yes, more are stepping up, more are. But in the meantime, more kids have been harmed and are going to be harmed. So let me leave you with keep the phones out of the bedrooms, talk to your kids and grandkids, family members. That's why I started out telling you I saw so many kids out playing today and families and people out with their dogs, lots of music. The sun is out in New York City. Joyous to see kids running up and down grass in the park. Get outside, get with nature when the weather's good. Talk to the kids. You got to talk to the kids. You have to establish, starting young, that relationship. It's okay. There are bad people online. Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff online. There are a lot of bad people. As we have to do it. We have to be the warriors. So while I fight in Washington and our state capital, Albany, but I'm focused right now really on the federal government, to be honest with you. And we're always honest at the Warriors. We must take these things seriously. Edie says, Lynn, when my oldest son, who's 35, was an infant, we were at Valley Forge Park and an older woman begged me to let her hold my baby so I could cool off in the visitor center. I was hot and exhausted, but no, absolutely not. We cannot let any, it used to be people would say, don't scare the kids. Don't. You know what? We have to scare the kids because the work we do at the Warriors and what's happening, I'm going to go back to national security threat with our children. You do not let a child go in a bathroom alone. You do not. You have to stay and have that presence. Angelica says she had a similar experience. It takes 2 seconds. Remember the little girl in New Jersey? I'm still thinking about her. Little, I think her name was Dulce Maria. I never was clear on the story. It was never, the mother pulled into a parking lot and let, I think it was 2 of the kids out of the car. It was a park in New Jersey so they could run to, they had just come from getting ice cream because there was video of that. So they could run ahead. Well, I think the mother took a phone call. So she sat in the car. Yes. And the brother reported like some man took her or something. Little 5-year-old Dulce, I think her name was Dulce Maria Alvarez, never to be found again. Like that, right under the mother's nose. We have to be vigilant. We have to be warriors. So I want to thank everybody because this is a big holiday weekend for joining us, for allowing me to talk. I'm urging all of you to think about everything we're talking about. Let's think about all of this exploitation, national security threat. They want to unravel our children. Again, our future adults, our future leaders. We've got to fight that and not allow that. The second thing is wishing everybody a wonderful Passover. Easter tomorrow, we come together. Let's think about all the good, right? Let's try to focus, even for one day. Tonight, I'll say tonight going forward. That's what we're doing at the Warriors. There's a lot of good. Let's focus on that. Our brains automatically go towards the negative, right? That's my example, even for myself, is I'll get 50 great comments on something and then one very negative comment, and I'll keep thinking about the negative. That's the way the brain works. Push it out. There's a lot of good. We're able to come together like this on a Saturday. This is a lot of good. I'm in Washington, a lot of good. A lot of parents and family members waking up to, yes, we have a threat. Yes, we have to protect our children and taking action, right? Look at the education system right now. Things are changing, right? We'll leave that for another program. We want our kids, educated. We want our kids happy. We want our kids to be kids. Every child deserves a safe childhood. Every child deserves a safe space. So join me because, our hashtag is community creates change. And I will urge all of you, go back and look at some of these interviews. Please look at my interview with Bella that just was posted. Also Noel Thomas, you can hear about AI and what's going on with all of that. And always know you can write to me, lynn@lynswarriors.org. I want everybody. Frederick says it. Happy Easter weekend. You know what? Everybody, just let's relax tonight and tomorrow. because there's always Monday to get back on all of these issues. I want to thank Fred for his memberships. It keeps us going, Fred. And thank you, Edie, always for recommending. Everybody's got to like it on the way out, because you know what? We are creating change. And as I told Bella, and again, I want you all to look at that interview because it's very interesting. It's a different perspective. That's what we're trying to do with the Warriors, bring this different perspective. I'm going to say it again, plug in the holes. It is, we are creating the change. We're not waiting, we're doing it. So, yeah, Jonathan also says a lot of predator teachers out there nowadays. Must be a scary time to be a parent. I know. Just as I'm finishing up, I'm inundated with stories of female teachers, male teachers, coaches, people that are around children. Okay? Vet. Anybody around a child. Incredibly important these days to be on top of it. And Fred, you couldn't help yourself, could you? Yes, my saint of a husband, Lionel, will be on 77 WABC tonight at 2 a.m. Eastern Time. You know, we just go around the clock around here. Lionel Nation, Lynn's Warriors, we just keep going. We are passionate, we are dedicated, and we want to bring information to you may not hear elsewhere. So thank you. Everybody tune in. There's an app, 77 WABC, also lynswarriors.org. Also, please, if you're in the New York area, we'd love to see you on May 6th. And you'll see that X, you'll see that also Facebook, the link to the cutting room. With that, go have some fun, everybody. We will speak again soon. Thank you. Go rest up. We have a lot of work ahead of us. Thanks, Warriors.